I don't want to assimilate anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to act like everything's okay when I know for a fact that everything's not. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to walk into a room and feel like, damn, like, dog, I'm fucked up. Like, I'm having a bad fucking day, but I'm never going to tell anybody because I got to show face. Like, nah, bro, like, I might not come. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I might not be there, bro.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today, man, we got a very special guest in the building.
Good,
man, 2-time Grammy Award-winning artist. That's been coming up a lot lately
I know,
for you,
bro.
huh?
It's going crazy. Like, yeah, it's making me feel weird there. Like,
I've watched a bunch of different interviews. They said 2-time Grammy Award-winning. What you say in Illinois? You said, man, I won 2 Grammys.
right? Yeah. It's like because it don't make. I don't know. Like you normally expect like if you won some Grammys or some crazy accolades, you would like, damn, something should change in my life. But it's the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same.
You went viral a couple times, won a couple Grammys.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Shit's still the same. Shit's still the same.
It's the same shit, bro.
You helped us earn $3 million on one of our posts.
Man, appreciate
Shout
y'all.
out to you, man.
Shout out to y'all, man. Like that was like I said, the setup was, not even the setup. The questions inspired the answer. So that's y'all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just appreciate to be even in the building. You know what I'm saying? To even had a conversation. You feel me? So,
You're genuinely one of my favorite artists to sit down and chop it
Thank
up
you,
with,
man.
bro.
Thank
Like, even when I've seen you outside of an interview setting, like,
Yeah.
it's always love. So I appreciate it.
man, you one of my favorite interviews to do. Period. Because you actually ask like good questions. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it actually is a great conversation versus like people who just ask the same shit over and over. So
Introduce yourself, bro, for the people that didn't watch the first one.
I am theMIND, singer, songwriter, producer, multi-hyphenated artist.
Man, so the first time you came in, we talked about you working with Chance, Saba. I think we might have mentioned Gierbo. I'm not too sure. But we mentioned basically all the big names you worked with in Chicago, right? Coming up and being able to be a part of those projects. Additionally, we talked about your experience growing up in foster care, traumas you've dealt with, and even failed relationships. So what I really want to talk about is what took place after that interview, right? Because after that interview, you kind of like disappeared a little bit. You went into the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And you start to post these pictures in random spots across the world with captions reflecting on life. What was it that made this series so important for you to start?
I think up until that point, I was having like these, I guess, journal entries by myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was writing in my notes app or something like, and of like whatever I was going through, but I wasn't like outwardly talking about it. And one of the things that I realized just as being an artist in general is that like a lot of times you're not the only person going through whatever the instance is, right? So I just was like, okay, like the simplest way that I could do this is just like post, like, you know what I'm saying? Post like these small captions, these excerpts, the things that I would normally write in my notes, and like in my journal, I would just post it out loud, you know what I'm saying, and give them the setting and the backdrop of everything too. Um, yeah, and then it just turned into this thing where like I was having conversations with people who were right back to me like, "Yo, I'm going through the same thing. Yo, I feel like this right now," and I'm like, "Damn, like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not like alone in this aspect or this moment of like uncertainty or like insecurity or like, you know what I'm saying." And it just became like an ongoing thing. And then, funny enough, it was leading in. I was doing this prior to us even announcing or going into the conversation of dancing while crying in the middle of nowhere. I was just doing this already, and so like when we then went to go announce the album, a lot of people was like, "Oh, is this because of this?" I was like, honestly, no, it wasn't just because of this. I was doing this seriously because this is actually how I felt.
I had asked Juliana about that because I was like, was that on purpose? And
Yeah.
she was like, no, he was just doing it. And
Yeah.
it just so happened to roll into the rollout,
Yeah.
right? And one of the first quotes you posted was on December 12th, 2023. You say, I write this from a trap set for me, one that I built, a deep hole small enough to set up shop, but I have nothing to sell except a trap set for me.
I said that.
I guess. I took it straight off Instagram.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like that's what I'm saying. Most of those joints was like written in the morning where I really kind of like felt like that.
At that time, what was the trap you were speaking of?
I felt like I had made a lot of bad decisions that led to like where I was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I think like I've talked about this more recently or whatever like that. But like I was homeless for a duration of the project at the time that we was working on nowhere. And I started like blaming myself. I was just like, yo, I did something wrong. Like I was fucking up in like a situation that I was a situationship that I was talking somebody I was talking to, and it just kind of felt like I was like, damn, am I doing this? Like is this me? Like, you know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of signs that I ignored prior to me getting to that point. And so it felt like somebody let it put a trap down or whatever like that. And I walked directly into it. And but I also was the person who set the trap. And I knew that I was trying to catch something or figure something out, but then I just caught myself. You know what I mean? And I think at that time I was dealing with like all of those moments and all of those shortcomings in me and like, yo, like I did this to myself. Like this, I don't never like to blame anybody when I go through some shit. Like I always be like, dog, what could I have done better? Like, what did I do wrong to even find myself here? Um, and I think that's a more eloquent way of me saying that instead of being like, damn, I fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think like that was the best way of me being able to like articulate that in in a way where it actually kind of made a little bit more sense to me too.
So, what were those shortcomings you came to find?
You a businessman, like you know how say for instance you didn't set up money like you know you got to pay taxes at the end of the year, but you like, oh, I'm not gonna do that shit or whatever like that, and you don't set that money aside, you spend it on some other shit. Before you know it, like taxes come back around, you like, damn, like why the fuck I ain't paid for my taxes? Now all of a sudden this money getting taken out of my bank account, I'm fucked up. Like now I'm really broke. But you already knew, like you know what I'm saying. You knew that that shit was coming. I think for me, like if you are talking to somebody and halfway through something happens where that person like is not articulating that they're for themselves or they're like in this game for them only, and you see it and you choose to ignore it, and you just say to yourself like, you know what, I'm gonna just keep rocking with this shit because something good about this situation, like the sex good or this is that and the third, but you never really like choose to say to yourself like, damn, like this isn't good for me, like I should like dip, like, and you go along with the motions, and then as soon as they like do some shit that's like super selfish, and then you like, damn, like I saw this coming though. Like, why would I still stay in this situation? Why would I keep doing this situation? I knew you showed me who you were when I first met you. And um, instead of me like digesting that and telling myself like, damn, I need to get the fuck up out of here. I just chose to stay. And then all of a sudden it bit me in the ass later on.
And then you're mad at yourself because you knew. You understood like I shouldn't be here anyways, right? Because I think back and I'm like, damn, I really allowed myself to take certain shit. I allowed myself to take those licks, right? And you see it in Mad Honey.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good until it's not. Like
Exactly.
you love what this person has. You love being able to spend time with this person, but the
Yeah.
whole time you're just hurting yourself.
Guaranteed.
And we're gonna talk about that more,
Yeah, yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
But I think back to times where I understood what things were. There's conversations that were had prior to anything happening, and same thing with other people who have fallen into that position with me, right? You let them know, but at that same time, like they want it to work so bad. They want to believe that the idea of whatever you guys have can be real, that they're willing to hurt themselves. For you, right? You allowed yourself to be here.
Yeah.
You like you said, you set up this trap.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize like I need to get up out of here?
A lot of those traps I'm still in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd be lying if I like. There's a lot of traps that I realized that like you man, I never understood that saying like hindsight is 20/20 until like I got a little bit older, because then I started to realize that like, yo, like you can really see something like later on as you move further and further away from something, you start to say to yourself like, damn, like that's what I was doing. I'm a fucking idiot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think for me, like a lot of times, like I don't, and I want the best for people, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even people who do me wrong. Like, I'd be like sitting up there, like, damn, I still hope that I hope that you fix this problem so that we don't have a problem. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And 9 times out of 10, that shit never works out like that. They never figure it out because that's not the point. Like the point of it is like y'all don't work. Like this not even whether it's a friendship, whether it's anything or whatever like that. This doesn't work. Like I should just move on. Like you know what I'm saying? And I think for me, when I realize it later on or whatever like that, it takes me a while, bro. It takes me to hit my head a bunch of times. You know what I'm saying? For me to be like, specifically with people, like if it's like friends or like a significant other or whatever, like it takes me a long time to like get through my head, like, oh damn, this person's not for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I keep on giving a person chances in terms of like, in terms of like how many not how many mistakes you get or whatever like that. Mistakes that like aren't intentional to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I see like you doing something, but it's just a selfish based thing, it's like, damn, like cool, I'll probably leave you alone for a second, and then I'll double back and be like, "Yo, you good?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Woo, doo, doo, woo. And then they'll probably say sorry, and they'll do all of the necessary things to like let you know, like it should be okay. But 9 times out of 10 is they're just saying the right things. They're not doing nothing actually changed in their action.
They don't do the work to make things right.
Not at all.
So what was it that made you realize this wasn't your happy place, right? Because a lot of the times when you chase something for so long, you're chasing an idea of what happiness is. I just interviewed this Latino artist, and he talks about it. He has this album called Felicilandia, and it's supposed to be the happiest place on earth.
Mm-hmm.
But in the background, there's an explosion.
Damn.
So then on his next album, it's called Sayonara,
Mm.
and it's Disney World blown up in like shambles, fire everywhere, right?
Damn.
And he describes it as it's me saying goodbye to everything I thought happiness was.
Mm.
So this relationship that I was in, it didn't turn out the way I thought it would. So I have to say goodbye to what I imagined happiness was always going to be for me. And I have to find a new definition. What made you realize this wasn't your happy place?
Damn near a similar case. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you start to see things kind of dissolve or whatever like that in your um idea of what you thought your perfect situation was. I mean, I think we talked about this like a little bit last time where, you know, I got this song called C where it was this identity or this understanding of what perfect was. And then before I started to realize it, I'm like, oh no, this is like something that I created or that I thought was perfect. And it's also like you said, like you get these things and you always say to yourself, like, oh man, like even with the Grammy shit, like I was like, oh man, like I always wanted to win Grammys or whatever like that, but it didn't change anything in my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think J. Cole had a conversation where he was just like, um, stop putting all your faith in like money or all of this other extra shit because at the end of the day you're going to obtain these things and it's not going to change like the hole that you have. It's not going to fill it. Like you're not going to feel better at the end of the day because you're like $10 billion up, bro. Like you're going to I mean, you probably going to have a better house and super yacht and all this other shit, but you're still going to be sad. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to deal with that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're a person who feel like isolated and alone, like find family. Like, you know what I'm saying? Find community. If you're a person who is chronically depressed or whatever, find things that make you happy or like that, like kind of give you not dopamine spikes, but that kind of stimulate, uh, uh, serotonin in your brain so that you could like actually, exist in the world, or talk to someone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Go see a therapist. Any of those different things. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that's just a journey now. Like I started to realize like for me personally, like that's just a journey. On some end of the spectrum, um, what my identity, what I think or envision as success or perfect or this is that and the third, it's not that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the girl I'll probably meet in the future, that's like the dream girl in my mind is probably not actually what she looked like because I'm putting some unrealistic um standards on somebody that's not real. Like, and the same thing happens with my career. Right now, I just want to be financially set that I can take care of my family and make sure that they good and stuff like that. That I can help other people, like, you know what I'm saying, when they need it. And in relationships, I just want somebody who like reciprocates the same energy that I give off. Like I feel like I care for people to like to my back hurt, and I want somebody to do the exact same thing for me. So therefore, neither one of us have to hurt in any way, shape, or form.
I think that for me, the hardest thing to let go when it comes to this perfect idea, when it comes to this idea of what somebody should be or something should be, is that once you let that go, once that breaks, it's like a cracked glass, right? You're never going to be able to see it any differently. So that naive picture of what you thought perfect was or what you thought love was, once it breaks one time, you stray farther and farther away from what you ever thought it would be.
Yeah, what it looked like, yeah.
And that's like a scary thought, right? Because once you had it, once you feel like you had it, and then it breaks apart, it's like everything shatters. Your idea of what your life was supposed to look like and come to fruition and isn't going to be that ever.
Dang. Yeah.
That shit fucked me up.
Yeah, Shattered Glass. Man, that's crazy. If I name a song that, bro, I give you writing credit, bro. That's crazy.
This was then followed by another story post on December 28th, 2023, which you read. You ever think about how much time you waste and have wasted caring about what others think? Probably years wasted on thoughts that didn't deserve second thoughts. I'm trying to be present, and here I am. And here I am on here talking to you. And you even put that at the beginning of Gina.
Yeah.
We live to strive for validation from everybody, right? And that's because we're both in entertainment. But outside of entertainment, society really shapes us to believe that we need validation and we need people to pay attention to what we're doing for us to feel good about it. And that's kind of where that mask came from for you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You started to put on this mask, and that's kind of like the idea between dancing in the middle, or dancing while crying in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
What did this album represent to you?
We often think that we're being present. We often think that we're like, you know, being our authentic selves in front of everybody or whatever. But the internet has created this aspect or this identity crisis that people have with being perfect. You know what I'm saying? Instagram was people's lives in a snapshot. Like, you know, you would see a picture of, like, you just posted pictures of you in Cancun, right? That's a snapshot of, like, that wasn't your entire summer. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was like a portion of your summer. There was probably times in your summer you was crying, times in your summer where you was like down, and this is that and third times in your summer was like, it's not all it is. But they only got that snapshot. So if somebody then came to you and started talking to you about something, they'd be like, man, like, life is great for you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And with me, people would be like, 2 Grammys, you know what I'm saying? You got all these streams, you touring, you doing all this other stuff. And they would just assume that that was like my whole personality. And I'm like, it's not. And I started to realize that I was then putting on that snapshot performance for everybody that I was talking to. You know, I never took that shit off. And if we all did take the extra shit off, it'd be a bunch of awkward people walking around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people, humans are weird, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, human interactions is weird or whatever. And the sooner, the more and more I started to realize that, the more and more I was like, yo, I got ADHD, I got depression, I got dyslexia, I read things wrong. I was like, sometimes I'm gonna be in a conversation and I'll be like, I don't know where the fuck I'm at right now. I'm disassociating, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And none of that shit be real. And I wanted to take that cool shit off. Like, and I stopped trying to be cool in front of people. I started being my authentic self in front of people. And it was one of the most nerve-wracking, but also like freeing things that I had ever done, where I was just like, nah, dog, like if you see me and you was like, damn, like that was a weird ass conversation I had with boy. I was having a bad day. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I tried to still have a conversation with you, even though my day was not going the way that I wanted it to. And I think other people are doing that too. And other people, the internet in general, people are waking up to like, that's not what like real life looks like. It's not perfect. Like, you gonna fuck up.
I don't want to say like a lot in the interview, but I do that shit because that's how I normally talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to correct it and I want to be conscious of it. But at the same time, I also want to be honest about who I am. And that doesn't mean that you don't have to fix anything. That just means that if I'm fixing myself in front of people, I'm more comfortable with it. I'm not trying to, I don't want to be this fake perception of perfect in front of people no more. I can't do that shit. It's not real. It's exhausting. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people are like hiding like how hurt they are. And because of that, you know, we have, you know, suicide rates are going up and so on and so forth. People are like really being fucked up. And it's like, dog, you can't tell nobody because everybody expects you to be fucking, yeah. No, life ain't perfect, bro. Like, it's really fucked up.
And that's something I've been wanting to highlight recently, right? With everything that I just told you, I think that you could see the follower count, you could see the view count, you could see everything that's going on with Sad Boy Radio, right?
Yeah.
I got a job that pays me decent.
Mm.
I got a job that buys me my shit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that there wasn't shit going on behind the scenes where I was like, I almost didn't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
To what avail, right? Because realistically, you know, honestly, this shit don't make me money for real.
Okay,
I sit here and bro, I care so much about the artist when they come to do an interview that I sit there and do hours of research.
Yeah.
I have to know the person without ever talking to them in my life.
Mm.
And when they refuse to like collaborate on that shit or post it, it's like, bro, like, what the fuck did I do it for?
Yeah.
So then that just deters me. But outside of that, right, it's not even just about the collaboration aspect. It's not about, you know, if you're going to post it or not. It's about the fact that I was going through my own shit and nobody knew that shit.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I created to make me feel good and to allow me to have an outlet became this thing that was being clout chased by everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted a piece of it, and they wanted a piece of what Sad Boy Radio was, but did they want a piece of it because they wanted to come have a real conversation, or did they want a piece of it because they saw, oh, I'll probably get a viral clip?
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
And for you, that's something that you did with theMIND, right? You created theMIND as a safety net for you. It was a superhero for who Zig is.
Yeah.
And eventually, right, it turns into something bigger.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like theMIND had become this safety net for others and it went too far to where you couldn't even lean into it?
Bro, yeah. It got, I think even myself, like I got caught up in, you know, and this happens with like people with personas and shit like that. Like you get it, the mind isn't mine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't belong to me. It yes, it was a superhero for me or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm still Zig. I'm still Zarif. Like, that's like still who I am. And I have flaws. theMIND is an artistic point of expression. It's Sad Boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the product that the engineer or the artist made. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or the company made. It's not anything else. Like, when you meet me or whatever like that, you're not meeting theMIND. You're meeting Zig, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if you listen to my music, that's theMIND. And theMIND is a culmination of, I think, like, making music is divine. Like, you know, divine intervention. I think that it's like, I'm a vessel. Sometimes I look back on songs and I don't know how I wrote them. And it's completely about my life and all of my experiences and shit. But sometimes I don't realize what it means until, like, years later. And I'm like, damn, like, what the fuck? Like, even sometimes reading, like, those things, I allow, like, spirit to move me. Like, you know what I'm saying? For it to be, like, some, to be completely, to get my ego out of the way. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't feel like it was, this journey for me to actually be honest about, like, who I am, then I wouldn't do it. Because if I allow my ego to be in there, there's a lot of truth that I would cut out of it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's embarrassing. Like, there's certain points and things that I talk about in love where it's just like, nah, like, I'm fucking up. Like, I'm fucked up. And so I'm glad that it did become that safety net for other people. And I'm still happy with that. But I also think that even this new era of music that I'm making is Zig talking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Zig talking, but it's like, I'm not putting on the persona of theMIND. Like, if theMIND is what happens when I make music, Zig is the person who you observe afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. Like, if you see me on stage, that's theMIND. You see me off stage, that's Zig. Like, you know what I'm saying? And understanding that. It's like The Weeknd, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, calling him Abel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that's who he actually is. He's a human being. If you only look at me like product, then you're going to expect, like, something perfect from me. And I'm not perfect. Like, my music, I try to get it as close to perfect as possible, but me personally, I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying?
So for somebody who articulates themselves so well, again, you're one of my favorite people to talk to.
Thank you, bro.
And you seem to be aware of your emotions. You seem to be aware of your flaws.
Yeah.
Why did you feel it necessary to put this mask on?
You know, there's this conversation about, like, why Superman, like, becomes Clark Kent. You know what I'm saying? In his everyday life, because he could just walk around with Superman. Like, you know what I'm saying? And take all the accolades. Why does Spider-Man do that? They say the dumb shit like, I want to protect my family. Superman is a fucking alien. Like, you know what I'm saying? That it don't really make sense. There's a book, or I forgot what the fuck it is. It might be a graphic novel, but it's basically talking about like, or maybe it was an interview. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But the conversation was that Superman puts on the Clark Kent persona because that's what he believes humans are. He's an alien who believes that humans are fragile, clumsy, you know what I'm saying, nervous, like weak creatures. So that's why he creates the persona of Clark. For me, I feel like I'm naturally Clark, and the mind is the persona of Superman. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think I needed the confidence to, like, some of my earlier songs and shit like that. Like when I was singing, people was like, yo, stop singing. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was a rapper first. Like, so like everybody was like, when I started singing, I like needed to cover my face. I needed a new persona. Like my rap name was Young Zig. Like, you know what I'm saying? In order for me to become the mind, or in order for me to feel like comfortable in singing and all this other stuff, I wanted people to like not judge me because they had already known me. I wanted them to judge me like it was a new, like a person just came down with a red cake, like, yo, who the fuck is this? Mm-hmm. Hear the music and be like, unbiasedly, it has nothing to do with me. You not because you my friend or this is anything. You just heard the music and was like, damn, it's fire. Who is this? Oh, that's me. Or I wouldn't even say that afterwards. I would just be like, oh, damn, that's crazy. That's the mind, bro, raw. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And just kind of leave it at that. And I think I needed that cape for a second. I needed to be able to tell myself that like the thing that I was doing was raw and not have the biased perception of people who had known me before, like kind of judge me on this aspect. And I wanted it to be pure by itself.
That was a good ass answer. But I meant that mask of putting on this mask daily to, right? The dancing while crying in the middle of nowhere. Putting on this mask to assimilate into society every single day.
Yeah.
And you knew you were fucked up. You knew what was going on with you. Why not just let people know, like, I'm not okay right now?
Don't nobody care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't nobody care if I told you right now, like, Childish Gambino just said that he's not doing the show.
Why take it off now?
Because I care. You know what I'm saying? Like, you said the perfect word, assimilate. Like, for so long, it's just routine. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't ever say anything to your boss about being fucked up at work until, like, eventually something happens and you're like, yo, man, fuck this job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, something just happens. It's like, I'm having a bad day. He talking to me like I'm not like a human. And I think, like, that started happening to me. Like, I started, like, being in these places where, people was, like, talking to me like I wasn't, like, an actual person. And I was like, man, fuck this. I don't want to pull up to this perception. Like, they gonna fuck up my numbers anyway. They gonna, like, change everything anyway. Be honest, bro. Be exactly who the fuck you are, man. It don't matter anymore, bro. Like, once I started to realize that none of that matters anymore, like, I don't have to assimilate. Like, not that I don't have to. I don't want to assimilate anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to act like everything's okay when I know for a fact that everything's not. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to walk into a room and feel like, damn, like, dog, I'm fucked up. Like, I'm having a bad fucking day, but I'm never going to tell anybody because I got to show face. Like, nah, bro, like, I might not come. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I might not be there, bro. Like, I'm not going to go because it's like, I can't play that game anymore. Like, it feels fake. Like, and I was having and making songs about, like, not being fake and real emotions, but in real life being fake. Like, the mask wasn't even, like, just a mask. It's
cap.
Extremely. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was capping the entire time being like, no, this is not me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are like, I'm like, stop laughing, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? So now it's just, I don't know. It's so much more comfortable taking off, like, that perception. And I wish the rest of the world would too. Because I feel like everybody is doing something for something else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like everybody is, like, pretending to be something else because they want something else. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Instead of having honest and open conversation. I don't think that we that much different than each other. Like, I think that we hide behind these lines because we think that it'd be cool to say it, or it'd be cool to be like a contrarian. Like, nah, man, say how you actually feel. If you like some shit, you're not a part of the peanut gallery just because you're like, I like this shit. If you like the shoe, you like the shoe. You don't gotta like sell people that you hate it because like everybody got them. Like, damn, bro.
So that was actually my next question, right?
Mm.
Where you say that people don't care.
Yeah.
It was, do you feel like you were trying to protect others from your own burdens, or did you just feel like your voice wouldn't be heard?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Mm.
I think like when you add in this like foster care aspect, that gets into the conversation of like why I started making music, because I believe that no one cared about what I had to say unless I said it in an elegant way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't just, every time I yelled out like, yo, I'm hurting or I'm in pain, everybody, it turned into that Rick and Morty episode. Like he was like, I'm stuck. This is not a joke. Like, you know, it turned into that. And like, everybody was like, oh, this is a cool song. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, no, I'm really fucked up. And so I had to find a way to like tell people how I was feeling. Like, you know, in that process, I started to realize that like, other people felt that way. But then I started, and you probably had the same thing, like where you talk to people, and before you can even say like what's going on in your life and this, that, and third, they're like, man, you ain't gonna believe the day I had. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it just like turns into like their problems seem huge. Like, you know what I'm saying? They seem like they really going through a lot. And truth be told, most days I feel like I could like deal with my own shit. So, okay, what you got going on? Let me hear you out. Like, you know what I'm saying? And before I know it, I was doing that daily. Like I was doing that all the fucking time to the point where I wasn't thinking about my feelings or emotions in any way, shape, or form. So I was like, dog, I don't want to burden nobody by this. I felt like, specifically when you deal with the aspect of like being houseless in a moment or whatever like that, I feel like everything that I was doing was a burden. I felt like every single time that I was like in need or something like that, like, you know what I'm saying? The last thing you ever want to hear if you ask your friend for help and they're like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt like I was getting that. And maybe I wasn't. Maybe that was my own perception of that. Maybe I thought that that's how people were reacting to me on some insecurity shit or like on some like self-defamation shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just like, damn, like people don't care how I feel. Like, let me just keep it to myself. But then like the other edge of that sword is if you do say it or whatever, you know, look at the people that you follow on like TikTok or Instagram, like you start saying something like, oh man, I'm going through this. Everybody like, oh, this motherfucker always complaining. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I didn't want to be that either. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
You fell in between two
Yeah.
bad spots.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, when you have all that happen, it's like for me, right? Going through everything that had happened this past year, it was like, I'm not gonna hop on Instagram and type out like, damn, like, you know, I don't post like my whole brand is accepting things for what it is and being able to keep moving forward and letting people know that everybody has these bad situations, everybody has these bad days, but what matters is how you push through it.
Yes.
And that you are going to get through it.
Yeah.
You know, something that somebody once told me, that it was a Bible quote, but it's this too shall pass. Because everything, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it doesn't even matter in your life, it's going to pass.
Yeah.
So when I was going through all that, I'm like, the only thing that I can do is literally wait till somebody like you, right? Me and you can have this conversation because it's just like that.
Yeah.
But again, when you have people coming through that only care about that clip, I don't get to be Matt.
Yeah.
I don't get to sit here and have a real, like, honest conversation. No, I have to be...
You start performing.
Yeah. And for me, it just made things 10 times harder because it's like, okay, I do the interview. Now I got to go home and edit this shit for 6 hours.
Yeah.
When I didn't even... Not to say I didn't like the conversation.
Right.
Because I'm not... You know, I enjoy the conversation, but I'm going through my own shit that I want to talk about and I never even got it off my chest.
At all.
So...
Yeah. It's crazy.
Having to hear everybody talk about their problems with you going through your own things, did that create resentment towards those people?
No. Not for real.
Than me.
Huh?
You're better than me.
For real? You feel like you like got resentment from like those situations? How did you even handle it? How would you because how would you handle it?
I don't have people outside of this that like be venting to me and shit. I got like my close homies that I grew up with, they all got their own like separate families and shit.
Yeah.
So like that's their thing, right?
Yeah.
My other homies that I go out with, like we're homies, but like we don't talk about like
It's a superficial
it's not even like that, because when I was going through my shit, like they would ask me like, oh, you good? Like, you know, what's going on with you? Like, what's new? I just didn't really have anything to say about it. Like, you know, I already had this conversation 10 times with my cousin. I had this conversation 5 times with my mom. I had this conversation with some random girl that didn't really give a fuck, but she listened anyways. You know what I'm saying?
Sitting there like, so you still trying to go to the afterwards? Yeah.
Like, I already had that conversation.
Yeah.
And it was what it was, right? So I was the one dumping on people. I was the one that people probably were like, damn, he's complaining about this shit again. Yeah. And in reality, like, I'd still say time heals all wounds, but at that time I really didn't know if that wound was gonna heal.
I hate that quote.
Really?
I hate time heals all.
Why?
Because I don't think that is real.
You don't think that's true?
Nah, I don't think time ever fixes anything. I think like you get further away from the situation so you can better evaluate it for sure or whatever like that. But I don't think that time fixed it. I think like you had to still do that work to fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like time is just the measurement of how long it took for you to deal with that situation. But you could have spent that, for instance, time won't heal a wound that you never tried to fix. You know what I'm saying? Like if you had a cut like that got infected, right? You can't just sit there and be like, it's gonna get better. No, that shit will kill you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit will kill you. You have to do something about that. Imagine how many people in real life, like, something happens and they don't deal with it, and then they take that shit in every other aspect or whatever like that. Like that could be an infection, this is that and the third. Now you passing that on to other people. You know what I'm saying? Now like it's like an animal with rabies. Everybody else that they bite, they infect now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like time can't fix that. Like you have to fix that.
I think time makes it feel more bearable, and that's something we talked about with Steve-O, right?
Yeah.
Steve-O in his new song Kill for Kill, he says, you know, time is worthless. All this time I still ain't healed. And he's talking about loss, and with loss, time makes things feel more, like he said, makes things feel more bearable.
Yeah.
Time makes it feel easier. But again, like you said, if you don't put in the time to fix it, it's never going to be better, right? You can't bleed on people who didn't cut you.
Feel me?
And when you break a bone, you don't tend to the bone. It's just gonna fucking stay broken. It's gonna heal improperly.
It's gonna heal weird as shit. Now you walk around with a fucking thing hanging out your goddamn arm because you ain't want to go get your bone reset. Like, you feel me? So,
in what ways did you see yourself being affected due to you bottling up your emotions and not trying to fix that?
You start finding yourself in conversations with people and insecurities that come up. I particularly find this in like personal relationships, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it won't happen to like random people or whatever like that. It'll happen like to like people that you talk to every day. All of a sudden you like lash out at them for some shit that they don't got nothing to do with. And I found myself harboring not resentment, but like harboring pent up emotions, and then they would do something to trigger said emotion, and then I would blame them for the entire emotion when it didn't even have anything to do with them. The initial emotion never had anything to do with them. And I was doing that shit so often. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would have a conversation with a girl, and like she'd say something that would trigger like my abandonment issue. And then all of a sudden I'd be like, man, everybody be wanting to fucking leave me, bro. Like, she don't have shit to do with that. Like, she just said she ain't want to go to Chick-fil-A with you, bro. Like, that's it, bro. It had nothing to do with anything else. And I think for me, once I started to realize that, like, damn, like, this is getting out of control. I'm doing this more and more. Like, cause it would happen like very rarely. And then out of nowhere, it started happening like a lot. Like I would be in a conversation and I couldn't like put on like the happy persona anymore. It just wasn't working. Like I just was like looking at this person like they had like killed my dog or some shit like that. And I'm just like, bro, fuck, like everything they do just annoying you. And it's like, they didn't do anything. Like, they're not doing anything. This is all my shit that I've never dealt with. And it's just coming out. And they're just like my victim at this moment because my ass I haven't had these conversations with anybody and they're the closest person to me. And so like, you're getting the blunt of all of this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just a moment right now. I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad at the world. And you just happen to be the closest person near me. So now I'm arguing with you about dumb shit about like, why you ain't saved me a piece of chicken or some shit. It's just all like, it's never like, no, it's never real. It's never real. Cause if nothing is ever that deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing that I really started to get to the point where I was like, it's never that deep. Why am I mad at you about, why are we arguing? Why are we yelling? Like, it can't be that deep, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you in an argument like that with your girl, leave. Like, you know what I'm saying? Get out the relationship. It's dumb. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know it's not that easy, dog.
It's not. Like I said, I fall in my same traps. It's easy for me to articulate, though. It's easier for me to say, like, damn, I want to cheat on my girl. I should just tell her that I don't find her attractive no more and I should just leave. Nah, I'm gonna stay in this fucking relationship. Why? Why? Just leave. And then they go into a situation, whatever their next situation is, and they like beefing with somebody or that distrust that you created in them. Now they walking around with that like, oh, I don't trust nobody. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's only because you cheated on them because you should have left.
It's that shattered glass.
It's the shattered glass.
Coaches teach what they can't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're able to articulate this. Yeah. You could tell everybody.
But I'm a fuck up on.
Unfortunately, I can't do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So what you do is you stay in this situation knowing it's bad for you until you don't recognize both the people in this relationship.
For sure.
Right? And that's a conversation I had with somebody else the other day. Man, if she watches this, she might be mad. But she was like, certain things happen that I never thought I would find myself in that position. And I never thought that I would be that person. And that happens to everybody. You try for so long, you try so hard, and you want something to work so bad.
That's so real.
And it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you continue to try and try and try until you're both these people that's not who you fell for.
Yeah. And you claim that you would never be. And now you just that because that's where life took you.
So now you have all that trauma. Now you have all those issues that you got to go back and clean up.
Yeah.
But the fucked up part is you're going to go find somebody that you hope will accept you and just not fix those issues that you have now.
Crazy.
I got replaced. I swear to you, I got replaced, bro.
Damn.
I got replaced.
Damn. The issues never got fixed, but they just found a new person to put the issues on.
Yeah, and then that relationship dissolved. So just proving the point. Who was the issue?
Yeah.
What was the problem?
Yeah. If you find yourself in four situations and the same outcome, maybe it wasn't the four people. Maybe it's you. Like,
so let's get to the album, right?
All right.
When I first listened to the album, Dancing While Crying in the Middle of Nowhere, it's got so many different sounds in it.
Yeah.
Like, there's points where you genuinely believe, like, this might actually be a happy album.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and you listen to the lyrics, and you're like, this isn't anything that I thought it was.
Yeah.
And we're going to break it down right now, right? You start at Point Nemo, the lost point.
Yeah.
Why pick that title? What was going on at that time?
Point Nemo is, by definition, the loneliest place on Earth. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it's the place on the planet where you're closer to outer space or the moon than you are any human life or whatever like that, right? Yeah, it's like a really crazy, isolated ass space, right? And I felt like, I think even in the song, I'm saying, maybe it was me, like, I waited way too long, whatever.
Tell you how I feel.
You feel me? Like, I just felt like I felt like every single time that I watched a past relationship fail, and I looked at them afterwards, it's kind of like the conversation we were just having. If it happened 4 times, it's me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I started to realize that, like, you wait so long hoping that like somebody is gonna say like, oh shit, like, man, I love you, or you waiting to say that, or you waiting to feel this way, and this is that and third, and then you start to realize like, damn, I never said it, and that person feels like I never felt this way about them, and now they're going on with their life, and then they leave, and then they're completely confused about like who you actually were. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because you didn't want to say it or you didn't feel it, and this is that and third. You just was playing it too cool. You just did like. You played it too cool for too long. You know what I'm saying? I think Tyler has a quote where he was like, man, it's like, y'all too cool. Y'all gonna end up with a fucking cold. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all playing that shit too cool. Like, you know what I mean? And I think so many times I found myself on the outskirts of being like, man, this person is perfect. And I fucked it up because of whatever the fuck I had going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or I just didn't tell you like, damn, this was what was wrong with me, and now you moved on. Now you on some whole other shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You happy with your person. They throwing pictures. They got pictures now and on some island and shit. You sit up there like, damn.
Got you fucked up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, damn, that could have been me.
It could have been me.
You know what I'm saying?
It should have been me.
It should have been me. So, yeah, that's why that title felt like that. I definitely felt like this past year, like I was in a very lonely place, like dealing with a lot of shit by myself and super isolated. And that's not to say that I didn't have friends around and shit like that, but I didn't have like that relationship aspect that like supersedes that when you have your person, you know what I'm saying? And it makes you feel like, damn, I don't have to, like, I could lay this all on you and we could kind of deal with this thing together.
It's your safety place.
For sure.
It's literally like talking about the politics of all of this.
Yeah.
You deal with all of this. Say you got I'm not gonna say a real job, but say you got a 9 to 5.
A real job.
my bad. Like, because this is my job, but I got a real job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, but you got a 9 to 5, right? Yeah. You deal with all that bullshit. You deal with this bullshit. You go to your person. It doesn't matter. Yeah. None of that matters. You go home and like, yeah, you complain about it. Yeah, it bothers you, but you can forget about everything.
They supposed to make you feel like that. You know what I'm saying?
So when you don't have that, and when you had it and then lost it, maybe it was me, maybe
I waited way too long to tell you how I feel. Now by myself, you with someone else, and I guess that's just the way it goes. You feel me? Like, I fell out of love more times than I fell in love. And I think that's the perfect description of that song. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know how motherfuckers be like, yo, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And I'm like, I guess. Like, you feel me? So, yeah.
Were there certain things you didn't recognize about not even theMIND, but Zig after going through those relationships or being at that loneliest point?
Yeah, I think that I had put all my stock into, there's this aspect that the internet wants you to believe that, like, all women want is just, like, a provider and that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
my old girl bought into that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
how I ended up single.
If you find yourself in a situation, and this is it's the classic, the grass is always greener. You're going to find yourself in a situation where a person provides for you. That's all they do. But then it's also the conversation of what you deem as providing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Providing may be like bread. Providing may be like paying rent for you. Providing may be like, oh, damn, like moral support. Like, you know what I'm saying? Providing may be, helping you, like, encouraging you with your dreams and so on and so forth, right? That's one conversation. But if, like, let's put it as base level. If providing is just financial, you find yourself she finds herself in a relationship like that. Eventually, she's going to get to the point where she's like, man, I want an emotional connection. Maybe that person that you picked is just the financial guy. Like, that person does not know how to give you that other shit. Now you've fucked up your whole meal ticket, or not your meal ticket, but now you fucked up your whole situation because you believed that provider was all you needed until you got it. And then it's like, no, but I want the other thing too.
That idea of happiness.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, that was your perception because the internet told you that. The internet told you, like, oh, damn, like, I need to be with Joe Blow, who has, like, first of all, the internet is making people believe that there's a lot more millionaires than there are, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
billionaires.
You billionaires, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not that many, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot, but there's not that many, bro. Like, people, the majority of individuals, it's the reason why they call these motherfuckers the 1%. The majority of people are broke. Stop acting like you motherfuckers are rich. We're not rich. We're all close to being homeless, closer to being homeless than we are to be a billionaire, bro. And motherfuckers will fight me on that concept every fucking day. But you are broke. You look at your account before you buy a fucking cheeseburger, bro. Like, it's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it happens, bro. You know what I'm saying? You pull out your Chase app and be like, I might be off the dollar menu today. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's cool. But I get it. The aspirations to be like, dog, I want to have better. I want to be able to provide for myself and others and so on and so forth. Well, man, stop looking for that, man. We are losing like real connections and the ability to actually like somebody and to be in a full blown relationship with a person who care about you because you looking for a bag. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, get a job, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't mean that in a way of like if all you want is a bag, rob a bank, get a job. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's all that you could do. Anybody can do that. You know what I'm saying? If you want an actual connection with somebody, that shit takes work and it's going to constantly change. You and that person is going to constantly change. You're going to have to constantly get used to that person over and over again and so on and so forth. And I think that journey is not as easy as the internet tells you it is. Like, I don't think like these self-help niggas, like these dudes who be like doing these shows telling like all of the OnlyFans girls, like, y'all don't know what the fuck. Like, they looking for love too. And I don't think all of the girls got it right either. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think we're all broken. And if we stopped arguing with each other for 5 seconds and stop looking for what the stereotypical person or the stereotypical post is telling them to find, we're going to find something special. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're going to find a relationship or a person who actually gives a fuck about you.
And spending so much time with somebody where their first reaction is always, okay, let's break up. It's like, you become conditioned to want to save that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so hard to admit that. Like, it's almost an embarrassing thing to admit at times because it's like, yo, I'm the one that was over here fighting so hard, right? And that's hard especially for males, because that's not the role we play a lot of the times.
Yeah.
That's not the role we're conditioned to play. We're conditioned to play the role of, okay, like, you don't give a fuck, all right, peace out, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like I told you when it came to that conversation where, you know, when enough is enough, you say what you feel, right?
Yeah.
And to that point, I had said, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
My life's not going to end when this ends. Like, I've done everything I ever wanted to, and this person was not involved in my life.
For sure.
So I'm not going to allow a relationship that, you know, they don't want me here. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead. And that's not to say, like, I didn't have any fault, right?
For sure.
Because right now it sounds like I'm bashing them. No, it's got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
This another conversation I had with somebody else. Two things can be true at the same time, right?
Sure.
I can be wrong and that person can be wrong.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be this.
You did this, or this person was the only thing, like, they did everything wrong and I was,
What was it that held you back from being upfront with your emotions, right? You say, maybe it was me. I waited way too long to tell you how I feel. Why didn't you say how you felt?
I think something you just said made me think of something that I never thought about with that song, right? Which is, I think me stating my flaws or me saying out loud, like, man, maybe this was me or whatever like that, is in the hopes of, you ever be in an argument and you like be like, all right, you know what? You right, my bad. I'm this, that, there. And you just hope that the other person be like, you right. It was me too. Like, I did this, that, there. I think the song kind of is that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of in this place where it's like, yeah, I'm saying that I was wrong for sure. Like, I didn't say everything, I didn't do everything, or whoop, whoop, whoop. But I'm also kind of hoping that somewhere in this joint you find accountability too. You know what I'm saying? And I guess the back end part of it, or I guess that's just the way it goes or whatever like that, is like, if you don't find accountability, that's fine too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it's supposed to be a little like a little bit like snarky too. Like, it's supposed to be like, maybe it was me. Like, maybe I waited way too long. You know what I'm saying? To tell you how I feel or whatever like that. It's supposed to feel like, you got it. I'm wrong. I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, at the end when Daisy comes in, you know what I'm saying, and she starts to say, like, you know what I'm saying,
loving me would be knowing me better.
Yeah.
Remember when you were knowing me best, suddenly you were so damn forgetful. But for me, that meant something different, right?
What did you?
For me, because that was like the situation, right? I cared so much about this. I cared so much about everything else. And there was a time where this person was my everything. There was a time where, like, if they had free time, all right, drop everything. I'm gonna go. Like, I'm on that, right? And as time, it goes back to that shattered glass. Once it breaks one time, once that trust is broken once, it's like you don't view it the same.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh my gosh, and it's just like that Mad Honey, right?
Yeah.
Because you get stung and you see this like flawed version, and then you blink and then it's fine again, right?
Yeah.
It's that cracked glass. It's that you stand back and you see the glass is cracked, but when you stand close enough, you see it perfectly. You see it just how you saw it before, because you can't see the crack.
Facts.
So when you have that, right, once that glass cracks, it's just like, even subconsciously, you can't do the same thing you were doing.
Yeah.
So when it broke for me the first time, it was okay. I thought I was okay. I thought that, okay, eventually, like, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna heal. Like, I'm not gonna be hurt. But I was holding on to that resentment, and I didn't realize it, right? So when she says, loving me would be knowing me better. Remember when you were knowing me best, right? There was a time where I did know that person best. And over time, like, I stopped.
Yeah.
And it was, what is it? Loving me would be knowing me better. This person had told me, like, I don't feel seen by you.
Damn.
And at the time, like, I didn't understand that. Like, it was at the beginning. Like, this shit was like 2 months in.
Damn.
And we were together for damn near 2 years.
Damn.
So,
and they had said that after 2 months?
Yeah, they said that after 2 months.
That's kind of crazy.
So it was kind of like, but mind you, this was like a back and forth thing for like 6 years.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
the most recent time, 2 months.
Yeah.
And they told me, like, I don't feel seen by you. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what does that mean? Because to me, I didn't know. I'm like, help explain to me. And they're like, I just don't feel seen. I'm like, bro, like, I'm telling you, I don't know, and you don't want to explain it. So how can I understand? And, hearing it in the song, it's like, if you really love this person, and maybe it's just their point of view, right? Because maybe you do love them. Maybe you do know everything about them, but you just don't show it. And because you don't show it, they don't believe it.
Right.
It's that social media thing, right?
Right.
Because I don't have what social media says I need to have to feel loved, or to be loved, or to be viewed as loved in the public eye. You don't love me because you don't give me this. Because you're not the fucking provider, because you're not the bag holder, because you're not this, you're not enough for me. And I was told that too.
Damn.
There was me and there was what I was told. And when you're told so many things that are negative about you, and when you're told you're not enough, it's like, all right, I'm not gonna be enough for you. And I'm not gonna push it.
It's a double-edged sword. Because I think, like, on one hand, the context of it is that, for sure. The other hand is like, it's that, what I was just explaining, where it's like, you have a situation, you say, like, damn, all right, my fault, my bad, woo. And instead of that person being like, damn, let me state all of the things that I did wrong, they then proceed to be like, yeah, loving me would be knowing me better. You know what I'm saying? Remember when you knew me best? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it then gets into this thing where it's like, damn, like, you did something wrong here too. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not just me, but like, that's fine too.
So it was the fear of being seen.
Yeah, the fear of kind of people feeling like sorry for you because of like your circumstances. You know what I'm saying? If you say like, oh, I went through this, or, this, that, and third happened, or whatever like that. I always had this fear of like people looking at me like a sad puppy. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, man, like, you good? This is that, third. Nah, bro, I'm fine. Like, but also the fear of like being perceived. I know that's like the worst thing to fucking ever say, specifically in the industry that we in, like, where it's like everything we do, like, this is an interview. Like, I'm being perceived from this point on. I don't want to be perceived, because everything is based on opinions, right? Like, so if somebody feels some type of way, like, that's your opinion. Like, you can feel that type of way. I never try to sell my opinion as truth. I try to sell it as my truth. And I think, like, even when you hear me make songs, like, most of my songs are about me, what I did wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying, or my perception of the situation. It's never a blame game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's number one, it's unfair because of the platform that I have. That's unfair for me to like just kind of dish shit at you or whatever like that. That doesn't mean that like whatever happened to me didn't happen. That just means that like I'm not probably gonna take that stance to be like push all this shit to you. But the other part about it is I hope that people give me that same exact grace. Like, you know what I'm saying? That perception of me or how you perceive me isn't is gracious and like, you know what I'm saying? And you give a little humanity to the context of who I am. Instead of looking at me like, damn, like this motherfucker should have never made no mistakes. Or this motherfucker's gonna make all the mistakes because he grew up like this and so on and so forth. I want my accolades to be actual accolades. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want somebody to give me like I used to hate fucking American Idol because like you know what I'm saying, or any of those like fucking shows where like talent based shows or whatever like that because it got to a place where it's just like I can give you a sob story and you gonna let me through automatically. I don't want you to look at me and be like, damn, like this is sad as shit. Like, man, let that person through. I want you to see me and be like, dog, like that's a talented ass motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why he's getting through. And it's also dope as fuck that you overcame all of this shit. Like, that's how I really feel. That's why most of the time, like when I tell people my story or if I talk to people and stuff, I don't tell them those aspects of my story. Cause I don't want you to like kind of look at me like that. I want you to perceive me as a person like, damn, you're really gifted at what you do, and that's dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like your writing is top tier. The production on this shit is top tier. Like all of this shit is raw. Don't give me no fucking consolation prize. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to be in a relationship where a person is like, you don't pity me, you fuck with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? You love me for everything that I am, even my shortcomings or whatever like that. And if it's not that, then what the fuck are we doing? Like, cause I'm not loving you because you got one arm, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with that. I love you because of who you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? In totality. And I don't want to be ableist when I say that, but like, I just, like, you know what I mean? I mean that wholeheartedly. Like, none of your conditions, none of like what my perception of you is making me feel the way that I feel about you. I am judging you solely on like who you are as a human being.
Your inability to express your emotions for somebody was because you were scared of them seeing you as a whole.
Yeah.
It's a wild ass concept, bro.
It's crazy. It's crazy as fuck. It seems backwards. Like,
you
know
just
what I'm
didn't
saying?
want to be vulnerable.
The majority of men are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think like, and I hate to just put that on men, but like I think that I can only go from my experience. But I think there's a lot of men who are scared of being vulnerable because in this day and age, it is another strike of why like you shouldn't talk to somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You'll end up in the group chat.
you see what I'm saying? Like, oh girl, he on here crying. Like, what the fuck? Like, now. But I also think that is a thing that happens because of the person that you choose to talk to. If you choose to talk to somebody who would exploit you in that type of way, that's crazy. That's damn near on you. Like, you know what I'm saying? You knew what type of person that was, whatever. But I also like I don't have that many friends. I have like a very close knit circle and this, that, third. I know that nobody gonna probably go off and be like, man, Zig was crying the other day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Woo, to the people that I talk to. But I also know that that's not a normal thing. Nowadays, it's like the first thing that somebody do something, you go on a bad date, you have a bad situation with somebody in a relationship, the first thing they do, they don't talk to nobody else, they go to the internet, bro. They get in front of a camera and they're like, man, girl, you ain't gonna believe, like this, that, third. Man, I hate dudes. I hate women who do like this, that, third. All people included, all humans included. Everybody will run to the internet first to like rat on somebody who did something wrong with them instead of like actually talking to that person and being like, yo, what happened? And so, yes, the perception being perceived by somebody made me like, no, I'm gonna keep it to myself then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you to see me because I don't want you to judge me in that way until I can trust you enough to the point of knowing that you wouldn't like do me dirty.
I got trust issues, so I'm the exact same way, bro. Like, I refuse to open up to somebody. Actually, I'm not that bad no more, but that's probably because I do this. So like, I be talking to people like regular, and if they don't seem interested in the conversation, I'm like, all right, like you're just lame. I'm straight on you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because to me, having a real conversation, having that conversation of like, I think talking about relationships is one of the most important things, right?
For sure.
Because you spend 2-3 years with somebody, like that person shaped the fuck out of you.
Bro, they changed everything about you.
So for you to sit here and tell me like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, like, man, fuck that dude.
Yeah.
Fuck that girl. Like, bro,
Yeah.
like, no, like that person changed you.
They did.
And like, no matter how much you want to change, no matter how much you want to erase that part of you, like
It's still
that
there.
person still had an effect on you.
Guaranteed.
So when it comes back to, you know, Point Nemo and Daisy singing, you know, loving me would be knowing me best, you're over there dancing in the fucking corridor. What's wrong with you? Why did you leave people with that image? Dancing while this girl's pouring her heart out to you.
Because it's also the conversation of, is she pouring her heart out, or is she not listening to me, you know, be vulnerable, and instead of you, like, because I took all of the blame, are you now being like, oh yeah, you took the blame, I ain't do no wrong, yeah, it's all you, like, you know what I'm saying? Is that the approach that she's taking to, like, you know, I think the song begs the question of like, which one of those situations is happening? Am I the person who's wrong in that complete situation? Was it just me? Did I do everything wrong, or was there any part that she could have played on there, or is there any validity to the thing that she's saying? The dancing aspect of it is just me being like, kind of acting like double-edged sword, acting like, okay, you didn't hear me, so all right, cool, I'm just whatever, or the concept of like, you told me this, but I got to keep moving. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm gonna keep dancing through, like, knowing this is playing back in my head like a memory now. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like she didn't say that directly at that joint out, because the song is a whole reflection piece, right? So if the end of it or whatever like that just imagine Daisy's voice is more so like a memory happening now. Like, that's something that I forgot. Like, this is the thing that she told me.
So then why follow this up with Mad Honey? Right? You're at Point Nemo. You're singing, you know, maybe it was me, but I feel like that was like the encapsulation of this relationship ending. And now you go to Mad Honey, and Mad Honey is like the start of the relationship almost.
The next one.
The next one?
Yeah, the next relationship. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the first one ended. Now Mad Honey is like the culmination of, I don't want to say a rebound, but it's when you ignore too many like flags, like, you know what I'm saying, too many red flags. Um, you find yourself in a situation where, like, you know, typically after the situation that you thought was gonna be the one, you know what I'm saying, like, that was your person, you find yourself in a situation afterwards where you like, shit, I don't think we talk about this enough, and I want to make a song about this one day. But the thing that happens after you get out of a relationship, but you're used to sleeping next to somebody, and you used to,
Those thoughts, they follow you.
you feel me?
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And you compare the person the whole
Every single
fucking time.
Every single
The
time.
whole time.
For me, I think going into Mad Honey or whatever like that, the discussion for me that I was having was like, you kind of wave off like the sixth sense that you typically have of like checking like all of the things that's going on with them, and you just kind of get infatuated by like who you think that they are, or you've put all of the good things from the last person onto this person, and now you moving into this situation and you end up getting fucked up, like, you know what I'm saying? I think inadvertently, like, when you look at the story of Nowhere as a whole or whatever like that, like, yes, that's like the first situation. The Point Nemo is a situation ends. Mad Honey is the next situation that you find yourself in, and you ignore all of the red flags about like why this is a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just supposed to be fun. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get stung. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we just out here just having a good time, right? Like, nah, bro, I'm high this entire time. Like, I'm not even acknowledging, or am I fully conscious of like what's actually going on. I'm still high off this last situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still kind of in this. Like you said, I'm still dealing with all of these emotions. I haven't fully shook this person off of me. But here I am in this next situation.
Again, like I said, that whole time you're comparing this, like, sometimes you're like, damn, but this isn't her. This isn't that person. Like, this isn't my person that I'm used to being with all the fucking time. So, like, should just be feeling mad weird, bro. And I be there and I'm like, fuck. You know how girls be like, they break up with their boyfriend, they want to find something, but they're also not ready. And I also never understood that until now. I was like, what are you talking about? You're still hung up on, dude? What you mean? Just find, like, on to the next type shit. I didn't understand that until I went through that. I'm like, damn, like, on to the next used to be like a reality. Like, that shit used to be easy.
Yeah.
And as you get older, like, you start to realize all these things that it could have been, all the things it should have been, all the places you went wrong. Because, like you said, Point Nemo is that song about, you know, when you realize all the shit, you realize every point you went wrong.
Yeah.
And you want that back.
Yeah.
So then when you get to Mad Honey and you're on to the next, it's like you're getting stung, you're hurting yourself, but you're trying to just enjoy the moment for what it is.
Yeah.
So what I thought originally Mad Honey was, it was like an ode to toxic relationships, right? And that's because this whole time you're getting stung by that bee. Like, that bee is fucking you up.
Yeah.
Like, you got a swollen ass eye. You're on a fucking date.
Yeah.
Eventually your head blows off.
Yeah.
Like, what was it that kept you going back in these instances?
You don't realize you're in a toxic relationship until you look at it later on. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the coolest things about the Mad Honey video is the idea of, like, that person not even acknowledging that I'm fucked up, or, like, not even acknowledging that, like, damn, like, I'm not in the best shape. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're kind of going along with the shit or whatever like that because they're getting perks out of it. They Gucci. Like, it's good.
Keep going. No, keep going.
No, they having, like, a great time. Like, it's nothing really wrong with what's going on in their eyes or whatever. But then if you, like, look really closely, you can see, like, that their perception is starting to pick up on it or whatever like that. But then I snap back into this reality, or, like, the way that I remember it is completely different. Like, now I'm like, it snaps back into, like, oh no, everything's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing's really wrong. Like, but it is. Like, you're everything is super fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think the video, even at the end, is an allegory for how after something is done, you have the ability to look at it from, you know, a faraway perspective, and you get to honestly see, like, damn, like, oh, that was, oh shit, like, this was me. Like I was fucked up this entire time. I was dealing with this entire time. Why didn't this feel like this when I was in it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything felt like flowers and roses until it got bad, and so on and so forth. How the fuck? Like, why didn't I see this? You know what I'm saying? And it's just a perception that you, like, if we choose to believe things because we choose to see them how we see them. Like, we don't really care about, like, what actually is happening. Most of the time when you in a situation, you're not asking yourself, like, damn, am I doing something wrong? Most of the time you're just living. You know what I'm saying? And then no one takes that outside approach to look at, like, the actions and be like, damn, like, am I, like, infatuated with this person? Is this, like, actual love? Is this real? Like, and even at the back end of the video or whatever like that, like, we used the Sad Boy clip.
I know I seen that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that until today. I'm very sorry.
For real? You ain't seen that until
I'm
today?
very sorry. I did not see that
Damn,
until
bro,
today.
I thought I was giving a full shout out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, I was, man, I don't know why you guys didn't send it to me.
Yeah, because I wanted you to see it, like, organically. I wanted you to be like,
I was
like,
damn, like, that shit's lit. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely cracked a smile. I was
Nah,
like,
man.
damn, this shit's so hard, bro.
Nah, bro.
So I'm sorry for not seeing that.
No, it's all
earlier.
good. I think for me, like, again, like, something that I realized in that conversation was that exact same thing that inspired that song too, which was, I forget so much. Like, you know what I'm saying? I forget, like, all of the stuff that, like, went on in the situation to the point that I feel like, damn, I was the good guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't do nothing wrong. I don't know what the fuck happened. And sometimes it's the other way around it. Like, I don't remember any bad thing that they did. I'm remembering this shit as, like, the most beautiful instance, but I got really fucked up at the end of it. And I think that it's important to, like, you know what I'm saying, when you get out of all of that, when the infomercial ends, when you stop looking at it, like, I'm back in that house by myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm back, like, you know, in the mansion, like just sitting up there looking around at the world and being like, oh shit, like nothing's better. Like even at the end of that video, like we go around the room, you see the accolades, just the Grammys on the wall, everything. But like it's not enough. I'm still empty. I'm still like hoping and trying to get fulfilled in some type of way. And that's also an aspect of taking that mask off too.
I was trying to figure out what you were thinking about at that end of the video, because I'm like, what? Like, I was trying to understand it. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Do you really think that it's love that's gonna make you happy at the end of the day? It's gonna fulfill you? Because we talk a lot about this emptiness and this emptiness of getting everything you want, right? That Grammy, like that's something that everybody wishes they had that does music. But constantly you're searching for this love, you're chasing it. Do you think that's really what's gonna make you happy, or do you think that's gonna be another thing where you get in, you eventually feel like, damn, it wasn't what I thought it was?
I think we as people that exist in this world currently undervalue love. I think that we undervalue connections. I think that we undervalue family relationships. I think that we undervalue everything, and we will risk everything for a goal that has monetary gain to it versus a relationship that, at the end of the day, to answer the question, yes, I do. I think that love is fulfilling. I think that it will afford you something that money can never buy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a reason why you can't put a price on it. It's a reason why, like, a person could, Elon Musk could get all the money in the world. He's still a weirdo. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a fucking weirdo. Like, you know what I mean? It's never gonna change, bro. You're gonna be a lame for the rest of your life. You can be the smartest guy in the world. Nobody cares. Like, you know what I mean? It won't change anything for you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And even when I look at him, I see a sad man questing for love, like wanting somebody to love him. And even if it's at the expense of individuals, like bodies and like in human life or whatever like that, he doesn't care, because he hopes that like this admiration that people feel for him is actually love, and it's not. That hole will never fill. It don't matter if Donald Trump get elected again. It don't matter if any of those things happen. It don't matter for any of those things, bro. He can't fill that hole because he like is questing for something that he'll never get because you're fucking weird. You know what I'm saying? And I think the same thing for like a lot of people, whatever like that, man. I love love, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love, like, I walk past people and on some weird shit. Like, speaking of weirdo, like I walk past people and if I see like a couple or like a kid or like people just genuinely happy, man, that shit warms my heart, because there's so much pain in the fucking world that like you just hope that shit happens, bro. You hope that somebody can feel something like that can fill up that void that you have and shit like that. And I think so many people have never had that. They haven't had parental love. They haven't had, family love. They haven't had relationship love. They haven't experienced it. And if you haven't experienced it, you're going to keep on questing for things that will never be able to equate to this insurmountable, this thing that can't even be equated. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're going to keep on trying to fill that with different things. No super yacht, no weird ass freak offs, no nothing going to fill that hole, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing can do shit for you. The only thing that you could do is like actually go out and like try to be compassionate, try to be empathetic, and love is hard too. Like the actual concept of it is a very hard expression to do it, because you got to be vulnerable. You have to be open. You have to be honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? To allow somebody to really love you, to really care about you. Nah, yeah, I think it's worth more than anything. You know what I'm saying? And I really do think, I think that is like the thing that I want the most. And I think that it is also one of those things where if everything else fades, when everything else fades or whatever, if you have that, man, if I was at my last and I just still had like my person with me, bro, like don't shit else matter, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that don't matter to other people. Some people will be like, nah, fuck that. I don't want to be at my worst end like with you, bro. Like, I want to be rich, Like, you know what I'm saying? What's the future line? Rather cry in a Maybach or cry in a Phantom than a Honda or some shit like that. Like,
I think that often, like, we as people, we just strive for excellence in our career. We strive for excellence financially, and like you said, there's a devaluation in love. We don't value it to the point where like we'd risk everything. And I think that comes from the idea that it's so easy to get hurt in love.
you don't think the same thing for you?
That it's easy to get hurt in your
For
career.
sure.
I think your career can fuck up your whole identity.
Mm.
I think that when shit goes south, like you question who you've been your entire life
Mm.
because you dedicate so much time into your career that you're like, what the fuck have I been doing? Like this shit didn't work out how I wanted
Yeah.
it to. So what was I doing that whole time?
That exact same parallel with a relationship, though. That's the exact same feeling, right? Like, you leave out a relationship that didn't work out. What's your number one feeling? You probably sitting up there like, damn, I'm not everything that I thought I was. What changed?
You have that choice to remain in that career for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Most of the time,
Yeah.
right? It's not. You're not an athlete. Like
Mhm.
your body's not gonna give up on you and deteriorate. Hopefully, God willing, right? With a relationship, like another person can just wake up one day and decide, like, I don't want to be with you no more.
Like, it's not all on you.
And there's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you could say or do that's gonna make them stay. The only thing it's gonna do is it's gonna push them away even farther. So with a career, right? Like, yeah, you can question your whole identity, but you decide if you stay. You decide if you continue to do that. Like, I'm again, this whole fucking year, I've been on the verge of like, bro, there was a point where because we had 5 episodes recorded after LA, and then it was on and off. And even still, like, it's been a little bit on and off. Like, we used to record every single Wednesday. That was the day. Today's a fucking Friday. Like, and it's been like that. We haven't gotten back into a rhythm. So at the end of that 5, like, we didn't have any more. And I was looking for somebody. And there was literally like, if somebody had canceled on me, if somebody said like, nah, I can't make it that day, like I probably would have stopped.
Damn.
I literally was like this close. Like I would have said, man, fuck this shit.
Damn.
Because I was just so like defeated.
Yeah.
I was so like my, again, that going back to that album, right? Felicilandia and Sayonara, like everything that I thought I had and everything that I looked towards being my future had blown up. So it's
Yeah.
like, and it was all because of on basically the podcast, right? You put so much
Yeah.
work into something and you let everything else fall by the wayside
Yeah.
that now you have resent towards the thing that you love most.
Yeah.
It was a weird place to be in. And even like as of a month ago, like I probably would have said the same shit. Like, bro, I was so close to just like not caring no more. Cause it's
Yeah.
like I'm not sitting down with like I'm not sitting down with the people that I want to sit down with, and the people where I think I should be, or even like how we've been trying to do, like I've been trying to do this one for a minute. I'm like, bro, like that I know I need this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like I know I need this, and I need it to happen like ASAP.
Yeah.
So and like again, when I talked about this album, Dancing While Crying in the Middle of Nowhere, like
Mhm.
the minute I heard that title, I was like, oh shit. And then you hear the music and it's like it's
Yeah.
upbeat, it's happy, but it's like you listen to the lyrics, you sit there and you like it's the mind music. Like
Yeah.
you sit there and you're like, damn, like who hurt this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, who hurt you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, even taking it back to Mad Honey, sometimes this idea of what love is, it's like we hold on to it for so long because we love the idea of what it could have been when it first started.
For sure.
And that's exactly what Mad Honey is, right? The
Yeah.
next relationship you're starting in and you love the idea of what it could be because maybe it reminds you of what it once was with somebody else.
Yep.
So you hold on to it and you allow it to beat you up for as long as possible.
The hallucinogenic, man. Yeah, man. Not real.
And with Gina, right? These toxic girls, like I guess that's just your type, huh?
Yeah. But yes and no. Like, pun intended. I think one thing that I started to realize the most with is that there's this aspect of what I should be, and there's an aspect of what, like, we are not fucking a monolith. Like, you know what I'm saying? We are snowflakes. Like, motherfuckers are, like, you know what I'm saying, different in every shape and way. But for some odd reason, the internet will tell us, like, every relationship should look exactly the fucking same. You know what I'm saying? Every woman should act the exact same way. Every man should be the exact same way. And I think for me personally, I got tired of hearing that narrative for women. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got tired of being like, oh, damn, cool. Like, man, she so mean. She this, that, and the third. Or woo, woo, woo. I don't like, bro. She mean to you, bro. Like, she don't like you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she don't like you, and that's cool. Like, I like her. She like me. It's cool. Like, and I think for me, that was the culmination of, like, an understanding of that somebody could go through something every single day, and specifically a woman could go through something every fucking day, and the world can make them bitter, and they could be fucked up because of, like, you know, wage disparaging, wage inconsistencies, fucking the way that somebody, like, catcalled them on the way to the crib, like, you know what I'm saying, feeling unsafe walking to their car, being, like, you know, eyed at the whole entire time that they at the gym. You know what I'm saying? They try and get bread. They doing OnlyFans. This is that and the third. They fly out. They flying out because they want to go on a trip, and this is that and the third. But they had the money on their own. Any type of thing. These are just all random examples, right? But in that exact same thing, what makes her any less than? What makes her less than just because you flew her out? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what makes her, like, owe you something because you flew her out? Like, what makes any of us owe anything or whatever like that? If I signed up to do something, if I go, let's say somebody fly me out to do a show, right? And I go out there and I do the show or whatever like that, and they be like, "Oh man, we need you to sign 100 fucking posters or whatever like that." That wasn't part of the deal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just told me all I had to do was perform. They never mentioned that other part or whatever like that. I fly out, I do the fucking show or whatever like that, and they be like, "Man, this motherfucker ain't signed none of the posters or whatever like that." And I'm like, that's a terrible example, actually. Because I think the actual thing about it is like,
I think if you're getting flown out, you know what the deal is.
but do you? Like, you know what I'm saying? What if you never met that person? Like, you know what I'm saying? What if
Why are you taking a flight from somebody you never met?
it's a free flight?
Nah.
If you was at a restaurant and somebody walked up and was like, "Dog, I'm gonna pay for your food" or whatever like that, you were gonna be like, "Man, I ain't gonna pay for my fucking food. What you want from me?"
A flight and food are different.
A flight and food is the same thing. Somebody paid the price. You paid a ticket for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think everyone has the prerogative to say no in a situation. Everybody has the ability to, like, yo, if I wanted to change my mind once I got there or whatever like that, I have the right to change my mind because I'm human. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the fuck you going through. Like, you know what I'm saying? It could have been like, oh, anything or whatever like that. Like, yo, you made that change. That's your risk. Motherfuckers play DraftKings every fucking day. Like, you know what I'm saying? You put your money in there, you expect to win every fucking time? Hell no. Half these motherfuckers is losing everything or whatever like that. Like, no. Like, you spend money on things that you don't expect anything from all the fucking time. But now all of a sudden,
I think we're down a rabbit hole right
it
now.
is a
bro.
crazy rabbit hole.
I think we're down a rabbit hole.
It is a crazy rabbit hole. But I think this is the clip. I think Gina was a conversation piece that I wanted to have with a person that the world perceived as mean. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I perceived as, like, they had been hurt. They had went through things and this, that, and third, and then nobody had ever asked them what the fuck they went through and shit like that. And I had known that, whatever like that. And I was like, if the world is gonna label you mean, that's fine. I don't give a fuck. I still love you. You still my type. You know what I'm saying? That was the end of the conversation. Like, that was what I wanted to.
Do you think you needed to highlight that because you were tired of having to put on this mask of being perfect?
Yeah, it's all in the same vein. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if once you start realizing, like, damn, I don't have to put on a facade, you start wanting to help other people take the mask off too. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, in that same exact John, like, I think I don't want to put my homie out there. Fuck it. My homie was dating someone who just happened to do OnlyFans or whatever like that. She wasn't doing anything on Only. She wasn't fucking nobody. Blase, blase. It didn't matter if she was, but like in this particular instance, she wasn't. And it was just on his heart. He was hurt by it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why the fuck is she doing this? Is that there? Bro, why the fuck do we do anything? Everything is exploitative, like at this day and age. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do people get on the internet and do NPC shit? Like, why do we do anything? We make money off of the perception that people have of us. Every last one of us. Like, some do it with less clothes. That's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, if that person is living, they're fine, they're not hurting nobody, this is that and third. I don't care, bro. Let them eat. Let them get their money, bro. You know what I'm saying? And if that is affecting the way that you love that person, because of the perception of what you think the rest of the world is gonna look at you as, then I feel like that's some like you shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't got shit to do. If your girl treating you right and y'all good, like, why does it matter? Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's just the perception that the rest of us gonna feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I can't believe you. Why you care? Like, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's the mask taking off now.
So why choose this as the lead single? I love the song.
Mhm.
I'm singing it over here.
Mhm.
It's catchy, obviously.
Yeah.
So that might be the reason.
Yeah, for
But
sure. That's it.
I feel like it fits the least.
Yes and no. Especially after Mad Honey. Like, Mad Honey is like the illusion of what somebody is, like who they are. Gina is like the realest version of who they are.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So let's look at it as three separate relationships, right? So you have the Point Nemo relationship that just ended. You have the infatuation relationship that is
Mad Honey.
Mad Honey. And then you have like the real relationship when you finally meet somebody and you just choose to love them for exactly who they are. The next 2 records after that or deal with like what you have to go through in a situation after you realize who they are and you're like, damn, this is a real situation. Like, now let me move forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the context of the story, it fits like crazy. But I think the main reason that it was a single is because it was catchy. And I think the majority of people, until you hear the context of the entire project, wouldn't probably get that perception from it. Or maybe they never will. And that's fine too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want people to take away from my art their own perception of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? What does it mean to you?
If they listen to this whole conversation, they will understand by the end.
I hope so. I hope so.
They should, because
Yeah.
I hope so. We're doing 4 hours over here.
That's great.
We're putting in work.
Yeah.
You know, and speaking of the next 2, right? High Beam.
Mhm.
High Beams.
Yeah.
After Gina, you meet this girl who, like, almost instantly, you know this is going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
In the song, you say, this will all end in tears. I just know it.
Yeah.
But in the video, you look emotionless
Mhm.
and the girl's crying.
Yeah.
And in the mirror, you're looking at yourself like, damn, what the fuck is wrong with you almost?
Yeah.
Why lead with this pessimistic idea surrounding love?
Is it pessimistic?
To think that it's going to crash and burn right out the gate?
I think High Beams to me was a I think it's like when that the deer caught up in headlights. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't even know what's happening. Whatever like that. So if Gina is the explanation of, I don't know, me falling for something real, High Beams is me understanding like, oh shit, like that's me like being caught off guard by this thing happening. You know what I'm saying? And like the game that you then play in your head of like, if this is real and if this is my person, who the fuck am I in this situation now? Like, have I figured out everything? Like, am I good? Are we good? Like that negative voice that you sometimes hear where you just say to yourself like, oh man, like I don't know like how this is gonna go. I hope that it goes good. Like what's the situation where you know that something could possibly go wrong, so you try to do everything to stop it, but inadvertently you end up making everything go wrong because
I don't know what it's called, but I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I think like that's what High Beams was trying to articulate. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not looking at it in a pessimistic. I'm hoping that this doesn't happen, but if it does, like, no, it can't. It won't happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then trying to move forward with that aspect.
I think I really got the idea of it being pessimistic because of not only the lyrics, but the visual, right? Because like I said, you're standing there and you're looking at this girl who's crying in front of you. And Like, you don't care.
Or is it me looking at my reflection and not caring like who I've become, or not being upset with the aspect of who I've become?
So why is she crying?
You ever had that argument where you have an argument with somebody and towards while y'all are arguing, you start to realize like, oh shit, like the point in the argument where they stop arguing with you and you just mad and then they just crying? Like, I think that's what the high beams visualizer was supposed to be. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just that moment where you just like, man, you just stop talking and they just like in tears. And sometimes people weaponize them tears. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like, if you walked in a room and you saw one person crying and one person looking mad, you would immediately think like this person did something wrong. But that doesn't typically mean that. They could be crying and they did everything fucked up. You know what I'm saying? They just weaponized them tears against you. I think that was the thought process that we wanted to invoke with that.
Which is like why for me, I don't know, for me, like I said, I felt like it was more so like a pessimistic view on love. Like, this girl is crying because maybe, and there you go, that's a perfect way to put it, right? You're weaponizing the tears. This girl is like almost so infatuated and she thinks it's gonna be something, but at the end of the day, like, you already know that, like, oh, like, we're already on a crash course. Like, this is the cycle that we're on, so it's just gonna fail eventually. And going back to what we said, like, you enjoy it for what it is until it's not a thing no more. Would you say you're scared of what you perceive love to be?
Yes. Because I believe that it is something so powerful that it can like shift your whole perspective on something, and like the way that you look at the world and view people and so on and so forth or whatever. So yeah, I think that if I ever found myself in love, I would be terrified. I think it's the reason why I'm like scared to have kids, because I think that like I would be so scared of losing them, because that's like a love that I can't control. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think the same way about like romantic love. Like, I find myself in a relationship and I love you so hard. Like you said, like if they woke up one day and they didn't love me back, like I don't know how to turn that off. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to unlove somebody after that. And I don't know if it will work. I don't know if I would love that person that much if they didn't love me back. You know what I'm saying? But even if that is the case, like what if, they pass away? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like what if nothing is promised? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that scares the living fuck out of me. Cause I know that how hard I can love.
I think sometimes the hardest part about love is like putting your all into somebody and putting your all into something and knowing it can blow up.
Mhm.
Like, with this song,
Mhm.
a lot of the times once you've been hurt, you understand, like, okay, it can blow up at any moment.
Yeah.
But getting to that point where, like, you can genuinely say, like, I'm in love with you, this person's in love with me.
Mhm.
And sometimes when it just doesn't work and it's all falls apart, it's like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And how do I ever get there again
Yeah.
with somebody else?
Yeah.
What is it you perceive love to be?
I think love is the true essence of like the an omnipresence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some shit that can't like truly be explained. Like, um, there's a song called "Song for You" by Donny Hathaway, and it's he said I loved you in a place where there's no space and time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think like we, to love somebody like eternally, like in a way where it like transcends. You ever be so locked in with a person that like y'all think the same, y'all walk outside of different houses and be dressed the same, like, you know what I'm saying? Uh y'all finish each other's sentences. Like that's spiritual. That's a whole different experience. That's an experience that I pray that everybody gets to experience. Um because I do think that it would cause a lot of healing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I believe that it's like that's the I guess the um, manifestation of God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like actual love.
Man, what happened with yours, bro?
I don't know. God, I don't fucking know.
And then we get to Oh Dear, Damn Love Really.
Yeah.
You start off with admitting you're in love, but you don't want to believe it's true.
Yeah.
This wasn't part of the plan. Tell it to the hours we spending. What was expected? Boundaries neglected. What is it about love that creates this anxiety for you?
I don't think it creates an anxiety. I think the premise that I wanted to kind of go with Oh Dear was what happens when you accidentally fall in love. Like, I think that's the part of love that we never talk about. Like, there's an intentional aspect of it. Like, you meet somebody and you're like, damn, like I really like this person. I want to pursue a relationship with them. And then I think there's the unintentional aspect of love where you find yourself in a situation where you're hanging with a person, like, you know, you hanging with this person that you perceived it, like that y'all was just kicking. Y'all was in a situationship. And then that's where it becomes that this wasn't part of the plan. And I'm saying, like, this wasn't part of the plan. And then she says, like, tell that to the hours we're spending then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if this wasn't part of the plan, then why did we spend so much time together? Like, why did we unintentionally fall in love with each other? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I think it gets so far. And I truly believe that a lot of reasons why people get divorced early and so on and so forth is because you never intentionally fell in love with somebody. You know what I'm saying? You never intentionally told yourself, like, damn, I want to be with this person. And because of that, you never made the intentional steps to be in love with that person, which means like compromising, which means like fixing different things that you got going on, which means like me fixing things that I got going on and so on and so forth. Me adjusting like as you get older and like all of these different things, like having the toughest conversations around like whether it's attraction, whether it's things that you need and so on and so forth, love language, whatever. And I think because we don't intentionally have that conversation, you have a lot of people who be in relationships and they feel like that's where the term ball and chain comes from. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, oh, like, that's just like this. That. People who hate their spouse, like you hate the relationship you in, but you just like happen to just keep on going with the steps. And it got to year 5, so you felt like you needed to propose. And it got to year 7, so you felt like y'all should have a kid. And it got to year 10, and you like, damn, I hate this. And then I'm going through the same thing. Now you sitting in your car before you go in the house every single fucking day. And it's like, dog, I don't want to be here. You never said that, though. You never intentionally said that you didn't want to be there. You never intentionally said that you did want to be there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now, like, you didn't say it and you did, and you also refused to tell this person, like, actually how you felt. And so now you're just going through the motions. And they go through that for the whole entire life. Then you die just because you're scared to die alone or so on and so forth. Or go out back into the world and figure out what happened. Or feel like you wasted 5, 6, 7 years of your life. Or you got 2 kids now. Or what that... It does not fucking matter. If it's not real, if it doesn't feel real, if it wasn't intentional, like, move on. You know what I'm saying? And I know that sounds so fucking like, yeah, but it's not. And it's not. I know that it's not easy. But you know what's harder? Or what's worse? Stringing somebody along for that long. And that person thinks that it's real. And they just think that you're like a little bit standoffish. Or they think that like, you're asexual, or they think that like you're really tired today, or they think that like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's never just, I don't think you my person. You know what I'm saying? We just accidentally did this. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's it. I mean, that's a tough conversation. I don't know. I found that's why the song is so fucking gut wrenching, because it's like I think I'm in love. Damn, how did this happen again? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like. I didn't intentionally do that. And I think every point in my life right now, I want to intentionally move in love and in this aspect where the person that I care about knows that I care about them. You know what I'm saying? Rather than it being a situation where like, I think, you know what I'm saying? You making up your own thing. Like where everybody always say that, you're like, I can't read minds and this is that and the third. No, intentionally fall in love with somebody and you won't have to.
How many times have you unintentionally fallen in love?
A lot of times. A lot of times.
What's the furthest you got before you had that conversation?
I can't even say that because then the person would know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I can't even say that. I'll say that it happens often because you might be attracted to somebody outwardly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like their external appearance. They might have everything that you think that you want from a person. And then you get to know them, and then it's like, oh my God. Like, but then you kind of put up with it because you're just like, yo, you bad as shit though. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then you start to realize like the further and further that you kind of get down the line, like it's that public perception. Like everybody else think that my girl bad. Like, so you know what I'm saying? Or everybody else think like, you know, the dude she dating is the perfect guy or whatever like that. So you just keep on kind of going with the flowing with the motions until you start to realize like, oh my God, I don't like this person. Like, even though they're attractive to me or whatever like that, I don't like you though. You know what I'm saying? I don't like really love you for real. Even though I fell in love with you or whatever like that. This isn't real. This is just an infatuation. Um, and I've done that a lot where I just like saw somebody and I was like, damn, I'm infatuated like a motherfucker. I think I'm in love with her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like
It happens that easy
yeah,
for you, bro?
yes, bro. I be falling in love, man. I'm a lover.
Would you say that you're scared of the idea of love then?
I'm scared of getting it wrong. I'm scared of unintentionally falling in love, unintentionally being with somebody for a long period of time. And I feel like we've wasted years and we just kind of get in the habit of being like, oh, okay, well, I guess we
This
got to
is
keep,
life.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm scared of that. Yeah, for sure.
So then we get to Cindy's shoe. The visualizer was like the most enticing part of it. Like, you're crying. There's strobe lights in a party going on in the back. The fucking music is blasting. Like, you should be having a good time, but then you listen to the lyrics and it really does reflect like your emotion and what you're showing. So I feel like this song truly captured the meaning behind the title of the album.
For sure.
What was your truth that was going on during that time?
It's that accidental aspect of love, right? And the point that we just talked about of because I didn't intentionally make this choice, now like life is just happening to us or whatever like that. Cindy Shoe is like, when did that honeymoon phase go away? Like, you know what I'm saying? When did we get to this point where we're examining where I finally saw you for who you actually were? Like, this was an unintentional situation that I found myself in, and now all of a sudden I have to deal with like the life that we've built. And two things can happen in that situation. Like, I can start tearing this shit up and unintentionally, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be here. That animosity is growing, all of that, like, that resentment, you know what I'm saying? I'm holding on to all of that. And so, like, now I'm bringing that into every conversation. I'm bringing that into, you know, the dinner table. I'm bringing that into, like, us going on dates. I'm bringing that into the bedroom, all this other stuff. And I think it's just like that point that you get to when you like, damn, am I not like, am I not attracted to this person anymore? Like, yo, what the fuck happened? Like, and I think the best way that I could explain it, even the way that the reason why it's called Cindy Shoe is because it's that part, like when midnight happened and Cinderella turned back, all of the things around Cinderella turned back into like normal household items. Like the pumpkin turned into like, you know what I'm saying? Like it just went back to regular. It didn't look as magical as it was again. Like, you know, as it used to do, as it used to be. And for me, I felt like when that, you know, if we want to even go back to the initial phase of the infatuation that happens in Mad Honey, and this is that third, I think Cindy Shoe is the aspect of in any situation where you start to realize like, oh shit, like this shit not magic. I just put a rose tinted glasses on. You know what I'm saying? Like this wasn't special. This wasn't nothing. This is that third. I just like kind of put up with your shit or I ignored it or you know what I'm saying? Like, the unintentional aspect of all of this is now coming to bite me back in the ass. Like I should have been peeped all of this shit, but I didn't. And now it's like, when the fuck did this fall apart? Like, how did we get here?
And that's the thing that you never even noticed, right? It's like you said, when did it all fall apart? When did it all change? When did the clock strike midnight? It all just suddenly happened. You know, I was so in love with you. I was so in love with this idea. And then eventually it just faded. And I wish you could tell me when it happened. You know, it's like because if I had to rewind and I watched it all, like I still couldn't tell you. And that's almost the same thing with like Mad Honey, right? Because when you watch it back, you're like, damn, like now I see all the flaws. But even looking at it, it's like man, because then you go to what's it called? The next song. What's the next song?
Gina.
No, I'm talking about
Oh, Easy to
after.
Miss You.
Easy to Miss You. You go to the next song, Easy to Miss You. Like I would do it all again. And that's what I think about when I go back and you have those relationships. It's like as bad as it could have ended, as much as it hurt you, like I would still do this shit again. I would still run it back exactly how it happened.
I'd rather cry with you than smile alone. Yeah.
Do you still feel that way?
Man, it's crazy. Easy to Miss You was written about losing someone and like not even just in love and like in life, like someone passing away. And you realizing that you'll never get to spend that time with them again. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then you start to realize that like it's that thing we talked about, like that void, like that fear of love, that fear of love manifested. You know what I'm saying? Did I risk it all? Like chasing a dream. Like you know what I'm saying? What the fuck did I sacrifice? In the hopes of obtaining some shit that's not real. Like, you know what I'm saying? That the world told me I needed and so on and so forth. What the fuck? What was the point of all of this? And I got there and I had all of this shit and I'm still unhappy. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have this person or this person is not here to share these moments with me. Um, and I think like that's like the my biggest fear. My biggest fear is like getting to do all of these different things and then it'll never feel like it's enough because people that you lost aren't here with you to like enjoy the fruits of the labor or to like they would just make the moment more special. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I also don't want it to be a fear of love. I don't want it to be a thing where it's just like because I think that's the double entendre of the song, right? On one hand, it's like it should come off sad. On the other hand, it should come off hopeful. You know what I'm saying? Where on one hand, you're saying like, "Damn, I'd rather cry with you than smile alone," like reminiscing over something. But then on the other thing, it's like realizing how much you love a person and being like, "Man, I'd rather cry with you than smile alone." Like you know what I'm saying? Um, and I love that it has those two meanings. I love that it's like you can juggle the meaning between like where you're at in your life. Like you know what I'm saying? If you just lost somebody and this is done third, then you're gonna sing it that way. If you were in love with somebody, you're gonna sing it the other way. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I kind of wanted to end the album on a hopeful note like that. Or a sad note. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like either way, it is supposed to be that open ended question that is posed. I feel like the whole album does that.
It's a sad album.
Yeah.
And when you described it as this like taking off the mask, dancing in the middle of nowhere while crying. Dancing while crying in the middle of nowhere. The sleepiness is getting to me. Yeah, it's starting to hit.
Yeah.
You explained it as you're taking off this mask that you didn't want to be this person anymore. And I was trying to find concepts of that within the album the whole time. And part of that is you telling your truth with, the being in love. But I feel like when we did our interview, I got like the first glimpse into that. So then I was trying to find something new, but really the something new was the conversation I had gotten. So then I look into the album and I listen and I noticed a lot of things where like we had talked about it. So to me, I thought that was cool. I don't know if that had any influence.
It did. That's what it was.
I'm not trying to take no credit for nothing, but
Nah.
I genuinely noticed like a lot of these concepts that we did talk about had made it into the album.
Yeah.
And being able to see that, I was like, damn. The whole time I was searching for a meaning that I was searching for a new meaning
That you already had.
that I already had.
Yeah.
Let's break this down a little bit more, right? Easy to Miss You. You broke it down for us. The road I've been on. So you say the road I've been on ain't always been easy, but I'd walk it all again. Just to see your face, it's worth more than my bad days. I'd rather cry with you than smile alone. Is there a specific person that comes to mind when you listen to this?
Yeah, but it's not a person like a romantic love. It's like a family member that I think of that passed away that I imagine if I would have done shit differently, how things would turn out. You know what I'm saying? And I think like for me, I'm constantly examining my actions, and I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form. Um, but I think it's the perception that we were talking about earlier, where it's just like my music has the capabilities of being able to state something, an emotion that I haven't fixed yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, an action that I haven't fixed yet. And in that song or whatever, I started to realize like, man, I am chasing something that has cost me years with my family, cost me years in relationships, cost me all types of shit. And it's with the hope, and I do it all saying that I want better for my family. I want to create a better, you know what I'm saying, world for them to exist in. I want to create generational wealth. I want to do all of these different things to make their lives better or whatever. And then it's the question that I ask myself is what if it was just what if the thing that they actually need from me is me just being there? What if it's not a monetary value to put on it? What if it's just the aspect of being present? You know what I'm saying? What if we have chased everything and the only thing you ever needed to do in a relationship was just be there, just be present? Um, and that's all it is. It was just begging that question. And for me, it was like, you know, after I lost my little brother, I started to ask myself, did I is what I'm risking, is the time that I'm spending chasing something worth more than all of the other shit? You know what I'm saying? And I think like for his mom, for all the rest of my family for him to still be alive and exist and stuff like that, like, does it fucking matter if I'm like uh, win Grammys, if I'm like this is that third? What the fuck does any of that shit matter if like these individuals aren't here to smile and exist and be a part of that? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I try to carry that. I try to carry everybody that I love with me on this journey. I try to like reach these heights with the idea in my mind that, and I guess this is the contradiction. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I think like I try to reach these heights and I try to say that like they're all with me and so on and so forth or whatever like that. But like, did I risk it all? Like, am I justified in my pursuit of this thing, of this dream, and the sacrifice of everybody that's around me? In every aspect that I've ever looked at, when I study people who have like made it and been extremely successful, they always say like, yo, it's gonna take sacrifice. It's gonna take like you leaving people or this is that and the third. And I really want to know, like at the end of my life, will it be fucking worth it? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question. But I know that missing like your little brother birthdays or missing like your nieces and nephews growing up or not saying I love you to your parents or this is that and the third, like all of these things, like it can't be worth it. I don't know if that measures. I don't know what level of success would measure up to that.
I don't want to say this because I don't want to manifest it, but I really don't think it does. I think that at the end of the day, like, nothing's gonna be like, again, going back to love, right? Because love from your family, love from a significant other, like, it's invaluable. Like, nothing can ever replace it. So when you're continuously chasing something that you don't even know is gonna be successful, you're continuously chasing this dream, and even if it is successful, like, is it all gonna be worth it? Like
Yeah,
you said, is it gonna be fucking worth it?
yeah,
And will I be happy? Will I be fulfilled?
yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of the times we see these success stories that they're not happy.
Oh, not at all.
They're unfulfilled. And it's like, they have X amount of marriages to their names, and it's still like it never was worth it for them.
At all.
What was it that made you, why was it you failed to be present throughout this whole time, right? You constantly talk about your failure to be present. You want to be more present.
Mm.
in every single interview throughout this whole rollout for the project. Why? Why did you fail to be present?
It's the thing we talked about earlier. It's the illusion or the perception that you have to put on a facade to exist in this world, like to be Instagram perfect, like, you know, to when you live in this aspect of trying to get to the next thing or be successful in the next thing, and this is that and third, you live 5 years at a time, you know what I'm saying, 3 years at a time. You're constantly asking yourself, like, oh, so what's the next thing, so on and so forth, right? You're never really existing in the present, you know what I'm saying? And even if you're not thinking about the future, you might be plagued by the past. Like, you might be plagued by all of the mistakes that you made. You might be plagued by, oh, damn, I wish I would have did this better. Like, oh, this is the pitfalls of this. Like, I should have did this better, and so on and so forth. Throughout this journey, I felt like I was plagued by both. Like, you know what I'm saying? On one hand, I was super scared of success, or not scared of success, but I was looking forward to, like, being like, oh, damn, I need to do this thing because I need to do this, and so on and so forth, or whatever. And every step that I took to get to something else, I felt like emotionless because I had already, like, lived it 3 times in my head because I had already pictured it, right? And then if I wasn't having that thought, then I was having the thought of like survivor's remorse. Like, you know what I'm saying? And being like, so why the fuck did I make it out? Like, why am I, like, this shit is still crazy to me, bro. Like, it be blowing my mind. Like, we in Chicago right now, bro. Like, I'm from Philly, bro. I'm a foster kid from Philly. Sometimes it feels like this isn't real. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I live in that. You know what I mean? And I think, like, that struggle, like, not feeling like I deserve the success that I've had because of the things that I've sacrificed, and not being able to enjoy the things that I've done because I'm always looking towards the next thing. It's a never ending battle. And because of that, the ability to sit and be like, oh my God, and be grateful and to be present in a moment, I wasn't able to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I always felt like I had to save face or do something else or be somewhere else. And
It's always on to the next.
always.
And it doesn't slow down until something detrimental happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't slow down at all. Like, I think back to, like, February, right?
Mhm.
We were releasing an episode every week, recording consistently, doing IG lives, like, and even then I was like, it's not enough. Like, I need to be releasing a playlist, I need to be making a website, I need to be making different types of content. And once everything fell apart and I was still, like, putting together the bare minimum, I was still putting together the bones, I look back and I'm like, all right, I got to get back to where I was. And it's like, I realized how much I actually was doing. And it's like, at what point was I going to have enough time to do more? There's always time. There's always time. But it's just like, when you look at it and you think about all you've done and how you're so hard on yourself that you need to be doing more, it's like, bro, you got to give yourself some slack sometimes.
A little bit of grace. Try. I'm trying. I think, like, that's, if there's anything that's changed about me, it's like I'm trying my hardest to give myself more grace. You know what I'm saying? If anything, like, the last interview even taught me was, hey, bro, be a little bit more, like, everybody out here is having that same exact experience. Everybody out here is, like, trying to figure it out. Nobody has it all figured out. And on that journey, if we all gave each other a little bit more grace, then we would be like, okay, like, that's why you don't have, you know why you shouldn't have it all figured out. That's like, that's death, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you if you figure it all out, what the fuck is the point of living? Like, I don't know everything. I don't ever think that I will, nor do I think that I want to. You know what I'm saying? But I do want to fully enjoy the journey of existing and being in love and everything else that comes along with it. And I think that I'm getting closer and closer to that every day.
Was it a relationship you failed in, or was it life in general that you failed to remain present?
I can't split them in two. I think the more and more that I examine, like, my ability to be conscious of something that's happening in front of me, specifically while being in a relationship with somebody, and me understanding that, like, oh, like, if you're present, you can see that a person is hurting. If you are living, it's the thing that we was talking about before. What's the first thing you text somebody? Like, do you text somebody like if they say that they coming over, and you know what I mean? If they say that they coming over, and an hour passed, 2 hours passed, and 3 hours passed, do you immediately tweak on them, or do you be like, hey, you okay? You text back like, oh, you okay? Something go wrong, and it's just down the third. You would have to be present in order for you to understand that like something bad could have happened. That's why I haven't talked to this person. It's very hard to come to that place. But if you're living in the past, you're gonna think about all the other times that somebody did you wrong, and that's the reason why they ain't text you back. If you living in the future, you like, man, she just like everybody else. Like there's no part of you. If you present, you start to think about the gravity of a situation and say to yourself, like, man, like something could be really fucked up, and I never even thought about it. You good? Then make your decision off of whatever that response is. You know what I'm saying? Of whether to be upset or to do whatever or whatever like that. But like, man, we got to be a little bit more like gracious with like these moments and shit like that. Because for me, like I said, if I was present more, then I think that I would see, if we all were present more, I think that we would see people hurting. We would see people like really fucked up around us. And I don't think we would take this angry approach at everything.
Dancing while crying in the middle of nowhere. You say it's a cohesive story that Chris put together unknowingly. What is the story? We went through it, but what is the story?
The story is you fall out of love, or not fall out of love, but you realize like the end of one relationship. You find yourself in another relationship that is purely based on infatuation, a rebound phase, if you will. You find a person that you're actually attracted to that the rest of the world might look at like something else, but because you're trying to exist in these moments, you see everything like that they're going through, so you choose to love them like wholeheartedly where they're at. High Beams is a place that you get to where in that situation of real love, you start to ask yourself like, have I done the work? Do I deserve this? Is this like really what it is or whatever like that? Or am I like just falling again? Like I always do. Oh dear is the aspect of then realizing like, I never intentionally fell in love with this person. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is just damn near the same rebound situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never asked to really be this. I mean, I love this person for who they are or whatever like that, but do they love me all the way? Like, asking yourself all of those questions. Cindy Shu is the realization of like, damn, it's not what I thought it was. Again, you know what I'm saying? And then Cindy Shu, and then Easy to Miss You is the double-sided question of, well, I would want to do this with this person, or damn, I lost another one, which then brings you all the way back to the front end of it. Or it's like a full circle moment. You know what I'm saying? Once you get back to the beginning, if you play it in a loop, it like strings together really well with the intro. You know what I'm saying? Of like that running that happens at the end of how Easy to Miss You ends and how how Point Nemo begins. Like play it in a loop, it works perfectly, but it's supposed to be like a full circle moment. Yeah, and I don't think like I said, Chris like playlisted it and like put all of those songs there. Besides, like he didn't have. I think I switched 2 songs around because I saw like what the context was, and then I added High Beams in there, whatever like that. And then we went back in and then strung everything together via, you know what I'm saying, executive production with me, Eugene, and like making everything fit together so that story actually was told all the way through. You know what I'm saying? Mommy added her part to Gina. Like that was like one of the last steps that we did. Even Daisy's part at the end of Point Nemo didn't happen until like this is after like all of the track listings together, and now I'm just trying to sew the story together. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the full cohesive story.
Man,
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, God.
And that's crying while dancing in the middle of nowhere.
Dancing while crying.
Crying while dancing in the middle of nowhere.
Dancing while crying. Talk about again. Crying while
And that's dancing while crying in the middle of nowhere. Man, shout out you.
Shout out you, bro.
Make sure you guys go ahead, check out theMIND. You got anything to plug?
We got merch, vinyls, fucking tour, maybe a deluxe vinyl. What else? Yeah, man. I see y'all around.
This is Sad Boy Radio.